it's not as passive as what people think it is also, but it's something that if it's done properly and done well, and you come in with the right mindset also that, okay, I'm doing this investment for this particular reason. Okay, I'm doing this investment because the entire narrative of why I want to actually invest in it is because I want an asset class that's totally different from my other businesses. I want an asset class that's totally different from my other investments. Then real estate works. Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about 6 asset classes or types that I plan to hold on to for the long term. Assets that I'm okay even if there would be volatility. I would not be frightened or scared should they experience some downward movement. And should there be any downturn in the economy, these are asset classes that I'm okay to hold on to. What makes them very, very interesting that if they're lodged together, they form a very, very potent combination that they really, really work well together. And I guess that's a couple of things that people need to realize when you start investing also, that it's not just a one investment that will carry all of your needs and wants and will protect you also for the long term. You always have to look at it like a basketball team, that you have different players with different functions that do different things. It can't be all scorers in the team because there's only one ball, and you can't also have all rebounders because if you have all rebounders, who's gonna shoot as well? And that's the context of what I want to discuss to all of you, that this is the rationale on why I'm picking these investments, and as of now, why I still love holding on to them as well, and why should there be any volatility still, why am I not changing my opinion towards them. And please do note also that these are not the only 6 that I have, but these 6 are things that we've talked a lot about also in the channel. But these 6 will form part and parcel of how I would go about my investments. Number 1 is cash. So cash is always king. People would say cash is trash. People would say that the value is inflated. Its value keeps on going down because of inflation, that because of massive amounts of printing, cash doesn't have any value, which is perfectly true. I totally believe in what people are saying, but I still need cash for my day-to-day expenses. I still need cash for my day-to-day operations. You can't really use other asset classes and pay that when you want to go to Starbucks. There aren't a lot of assets that allow you to be able to do that, but cash gives me liquidity. So I'll store a portion of it. I'll keep a portion of it because I use it, because I actually need it. I'm coming in it not blind to the reality that cash will just lose its value. I'm in it because I know it gives me a certain layer also of a safety net and a buffer should things go bad. Number 2, real estate. I don't talk as much about real estate or property investing in this channel. It's not as passive as what people think it is also, but it's something that if it's done properly and done well, and you come in with the right mindset also that, okay, I'm doing this investment for this particular reason. Okay, I'm doing this investment because the entire narrative of why I want to actually invest in it is because I want an asset class that's totally different from my other businesses. I want an asset class that's totally different from my other investments. Then real estate works. Property works also, but I'm also not just blindly thinking about it that if I have real estate, everything will be all right and well, that I will get passive returns. Please do note this, that in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of properties didn't get any rental income. It diverges. There are some properties that are in landed areas where it's close to the beach, close to nature, that have done really, really well, but there are also some properties as well that are in business districts, buildings, condominiums, areas that highly got affected by the pandemic that either didn't appreciate or the values even went lower. And for a lot of people that borrowed money for it, that were anticipating that they would get rent from it, or their business got hit and they had a hard time paying for amortization, that's where it becomes tricky. But if you know how to properly use it, I think it has a very, very good place in your portfolio. So cash for liquidity, cash because you need it, property also as a somehow an anchor up against all of the other investments that I'm taking that are relatively risky, but in a way also it has a way for me to beat inflation. It has a way also for me to preserve value. It also has a way for me to give me cash flow. Speaking of cash flow, another type of asset class or investment that I do want to hold for the long term are stocks that give me dividends. If cash is king, cash flow is a much bigger king or emperor than what cash could ever be. And dividend stocks, regardless if it's from REITs for common stocks or even preferred shares is the name of the game. And this is something that I've talked about over and over and over again, because I think its biggest advantage over real estate, especially if you go the REIT route or if you go the common shares with dividend route, for real estate, it's not liquid. Meaning, if you want to sell it, you won't be able to sell it either right away, or you won't be able to sell it at the price that you actually want to sell it. Up against dividend paying stocks, not only does it give you the ability to have capital appreciation, which is present also in real estate, not only does it have the ability to give you cash flow via the dividends that it would give based on their earnings, but it gives you liquidity. It gives you the shot and the chance that should you need to take out that position, then you're okay. And that's why I said it's a good balance, because you have real estate that will give you a bit of stability, safety, but it's not as liquid. But you have dividend paying stocks that will give you cash flow, capital appreciation, but is relatively liquid. So there, cash, property investing, dividend paying stocks. Then, you know my bias already about the stock market. Stocks that will give me growth, stocks that will give me capital appreciation, but those that are relatively established, those that people coin already as blue chips, those that are most likely market leaders, those that have a track record of growth and earnings, those that are run by people with amazing insight, those who are run by people who know how to not just follow the trends but also lead the trends as well. Companies like Apple, companies like Microsoft, companies like Google, companies like Nike, Starbucks, those that are in the forefront of their particular market segments. When the pandemic happened, it never came across my mind that Nike would close down. Because as long as people need shoes, as long as people play basketball, as long as people admire excellence, as long as people recognize Nike as a brand, they'll be there. It never crossed my mind that Apple, Microsoft would close down in the midst of the pandemic. And even what's going on right now, all of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's going on, it never crossed my mind that Microsoft would close down. Think about how they're paving the way, or at least raking a lot of money from all of the people taking up subscriptions for all of the software packages that they have. So there are certain companies that I'm confident of. They may not give you the best upside already, but if your timeline is long and you have other investments that complement it, then I think it should be fine. Then I think also that should there be drops, you wouldn't be scared. I never lost a night of sleep in spite of any of the volatility going on, in spite of the drops that have happened from 2008 to 2020 to the drops that happened in between that also, and even the drops that are happening right now. Because as long as you know what you're investing are companies that will be there, that have stood the test of time, then it's fine. Even if the stock market closed down and I have no ability to sell my shares for 10 years, these are companies that I'm okay to hold on to. So cash, real estate, dividend paying stocks, growth / companies that are built to last in the stock market with the main goal of capital appreciation. Number 5 is Bitcoin. Bitcoin will always be part of my portfolio because it's digital gold. It's something that's decentralized. It's something that, in reality, it's volatile. Since a lot of people don't understand it yet, there will be downs, there will be dumps, there will be a lot of people who will be scared, there will be a lot of outlets also you will see talking about it in a negative light. But because I understand it, other people's opinions are amazing as long as they follow it on their own. But I'm also following my conviction that Bitcoin will be part of my portfolio. It's scarce, it's digital gold, it's limited. I can take it with me anywhere I go. I can send it to anyone also at any given point in time. It's transparent, it's immutable, it's in the blockchain. It solves a lot of things for people like me who live in developing countries. It just makes sense. Suddenly, from a person also who has been exposed to stocks in Southeast Asia for quite some time, right now, I have the ability not to be scared also should there be anything going on in the geopolitical sphere here, because Bitcoin is just game-changing technology. It's just software, and it helps complement my dividend stocks. It helps complement the growth stocks that I have in the market. But I'm not going into Bitcoin blindly that, 100% will be there in Bitcoin, because I have cash and property investing. 6th one is this. It's Ethereum. It's the second largest altcoin. Especially as it transitions, it moving from proof of work to proof of stake will unlock so much opportunities for a lot of funds that wanted to come into the crypto space but saw proof of work as something that was resource intensive. Ethereum allows a lot of apps to be built on top of the blockchain that would give a lot of people access to finance, to GameFi, to art, and so much more. This is literally us having the ability to see internet in the 90s, manifest in a new form in a way that gives people the ability to have ownership. If there's one thing that I want people to get between Bitcoin and Ethereum, is it gives people ownership and have digital property and have something they can own. Unlike Web 2, that if you notice it, the only way for you to profit from Facebook is to build businesses on top of it or to own Facebook stock. But majority of the value, majority of the revenue would go to those Web 2 companies, Google, Microsoft, Facebook. And what's nice about Ethereum is that it complements also that, okay, I have companies that are positioned into Web 2. I also have assets that are connected into Web 3, and that's Ethereum. And I don't know which will be the best dApp that will be prevalent in the next few years. I don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. But I believe that there's a big chance that a large chunk of them could be built on top of Ethereum. So those are my 6 assets that I'm okay to hold, that I won't be scared should there be any volatility, should there be any fear, uncertainty, and doubt over the next decade. I'm okay to hold cash. I'm okay to have real estate, dividend-paying stocks, the largest companies in the planet, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. If you want to know more about all of the things that I've mentioned, hundreds of videos are down below for you with the goal and the context to help you know more about that, so you make educated decisions, informed decisions, so you don't rely on hype, speculation, or your friend, that you get to build a foundation on your own. So if you stayed up until the end, like, share, subscribe, smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. So that's it for now. Marvingermo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.